From eMerge Americas at our Dell for Startup booth at our Endeavor Miami podcast, and I have our incredible partner and friend, Ashley Portero. She is the South Florida Business Journal executive journalist.
Hi everyone, it's great to be here.
Thank you for joining me. So Ashley, tell us, how do you pick your stories? I know you do so many incredible coverage, right, for South Florida and for the journal. So tell us, what inspires you to write, and what are the type of stories that you're writing about? Because there's so many good stories.
Sure, yes, reporting in Miami, South Florida area definitely keeps me busy. I write about technology and innovation companies for the South Florida Business Journal and our sister platform, Miami Inno. I also send out a newsletter twice a week, so my coverage really centers on large companies to startups that are working in technology or innovation. Innovation doesn't always have to mean tech either. It can just be how businesses are, how they're doing their work differently, or how creatively, functionally, how they're adapting to the modern world, I suppose.
And being resourceful.
It's definitely challenging.
Right now it's really challenging, as we know, to get access to resources. And when you talk to founders, what are you hearing from them? How are they navigating this current landscape?
Definitely depends on the founders that I speak to. I recently spoke to one founder who I'm sure you know, Anya Freeman for Kind Designs. That startup is getting a lot of traction with the 3D printed seawalls they make. And I thought it was really interesting because when I spoke to her, she said, I didn't even realize funding was a challenge right now because this startup is getting so much traction, interest from investors, not always like the biggest checks you've ever seen, but big names. So that's interesting from that perspective. From other people, I've heard the exact opposite.
Yeah.
It's even hard for them to get meetings the way it wasn't maybe 2 years ago when there was a lot of investment happening, when there was still a lot of people moving down here. We still have that, but I think it's just gotten a lot more competitive because people aren't writing checks as easily as they did a few years ago.
That's very true. And so it has to come down to what the innovation, what type of innovation you're building, the impact your company is generating, and how you're scaling it, right? And so I think that all founders have the challenge to scale their companies. And so at Endeavor, we help them to connect with resources, but now we know the economic landscape has changed and access to funding is not as it was a couple of years ago. So I agree with you that it has to do a lot with the business model and also the founder's vision.
Their vision, and I would argue how they tell their stories, especially when you're trying to pitch to media, especially when you're trying to speak to people who might not be as knowledgeable about the tech community. How you tell your story and efficiently, I would say, really matters. A lot of people don't completely understand tech, especially hard tech. If you have a vision that's easy to understand, and if people really understand how this is solving a problem, I think that makes a huge difference right now.
And that's why it's so important to, really polish your pitch if you're a founder, right, and tell your story in a way that people can understand and connect with it. And you tell stories, so that's what you do all the time. You just tell the founders stories. And what inspired, can you share one of these stories that really truly inspired you into writing about the founder's journey? And if you're seeing any trends, in our community in South Florida, specifically on any industries that are really leading the way?
Sure. I think one of the most exciting parts of my job is connecting with founders, hearing their stories, and just kind of learning about how much talent we have all around us and how incredibly smart so many of these people are as well. I'm really lucky that I get to communicate with them. Sometimes, I know from, because I speak to so many founders, that's why I know communication is so important.
Yes, it is.
This is my job, so it's easy for me, even if the pitch isn't quite there, I can get, I get it. I know where they're coming from. We can smooth it out a bit. But a lot of people, especially with attention spans today, they are not there. if you don't get them in 30 seconds, that can be it sometimes. So I think that's very crucial. And going to what I'm excited about in this market, one vertical I've written a lot about, as you know, is climate technology.
Yes.
And I think that goes back to what I said about solving a real problem that everybody recognizes: flooding, heat, climate change. And I think being in Florida, there is such a cool opportunity to spearhead and be a leader in this up and coming vertical that literally everyone in the world needs right now.
We're the perfect place to be a laboratory for a lot of these tech solutions that can tackle these really important problems that they are real and we're seeing them, right?
Yes.
So I think as a community, we all have to convene and support founders that are actually working with these solutions, but also bring new solutions to our community from outside.
Yes, and I hope that more people, I mean, we already see more people are recognizing the value of South Florida and the resources we have here. I just hope that we can keep telling that story so more of those people, the thought leaders, will understand that this is a destination for them to build as well.
Well, I'm sure that you are going to keep telling that story and people are going to keep reading about it and seeing how important it is. So I want to thank you for shining a light on entrepreneurs and what they're doing in South Florida, because it's really important. Your job is actually giving them a lot of visibility. So thank you for writing about it. And thank you for being an excellent partner of Endeavor Miami.
Thank you. Always excited to work with you guys. I'm very happy to be here today.
Well, thank you. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
See?
Hope that was okay.
Yes, it was fun. It was great.
Trying to keep it short and sweet.
No, that's exactly.